Welcome to the video on how to import a CityGML file. CityGML is an open standardized data model and exchange format to store digital 3D models of cities and landscapes. The 3D models can also be textured or colored. There are two ways to import a CityGML into your project, as buildings or as measures. First, we will import a 3D CityGML model for a building. To import a CityGML file for buildings, hover over Buildings in the ribbon bar and select Import Geodata. Once the wizard is ready, select Next. In this step, select a CityJSON-GML file and select Next. In this step, we assume that the models are placed on the correct datum height. Therefore, we leave the first option as it is. In case you are importing a large detailed 3D model, you can raise the minimal triangle size to lower the impact this model has on the 3D visualization at the cost of having a less detailed model. For now, we leave both settings as they are, and select Next to continue. Click on the Select Local File button and select the CityGML file that we want to import. Once the file has been processed successfully, select Next to continue. In this step, you can visually inspect the location of the new 3D models. Select Next to continue. We do not want to filter anything, so we use the default option and select Next. In this step, you have to choose the way 3D models are assigned to buildings. Most of the time when importing a CityGML for buildings, you want to update existing buildings with new 3D models. However, it is also possible to create new buildings based on the 3D models. In this step, we will choose to update existing buildings only. Select Next to continue. We are now ready to send and assign the 3D model data to existing buildings in our project. Select Finish and wait for the building to update. Notice the building's shape has been updated and that the building is textured differently compared to its surroundings. You have now successfully imported a 3D CityGML model for a building. It is also possible to apply CityGML model for a new building that is part of a measure. To import a CityGML file for a measure, select the Future Design tab in the ribbon bar. Hover over Measures and select Import Geodata. Once the wizard is ready, select Next. In this step, since we do not yet have created a measure, select the New Measure option with the Buildings option selected as well, and select Next to continue. In this step, select a CityJSON-GML file and select Next. In this step, we keep the settings as they are and select Next. Click on the Select Local File button and select the CityGML file that we want to import. Once the file has been processed successfully, select Next to continue. Again, we can inspect the features and then select Next. We do not filter anything and continue by selecting Next. Measure buildings are always new buildings, therefore we have to provide more information. First, we choose an option to name our buildings. We choose the Based on Match function option and select Next. We choose to import the automatically selected attributes and select Next to continue. We now have to select a sensible function for our new buildings. Since the buildings we are importing are offices, we click on Select. In the Function Selection panel, we select Offices in the table on the left and select a suitable function in the function table. We then click on Select to confirm our choice and click Next to continue. Since we have selected an office function, we select Company for our default stakeholder and select Next. We are now ready to import the measure buildings. Click on Finish and wait for the process to complete. Next, we select the Measures panel to inspect the created measure. To activate the measure, select the measure in the Overview panel. In the Measure Detail panel, click on the Activate Measure link. Notice that the new building appears with the 3D model. You have now learned how to import 3D models using a CityGML file for both buildings and measures. Also remember that you can import additional buildings with 3D models at a later time for already existing measures.